Hi guys, welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. No, it's not Chris Monroe. This is just a resume site we built a couple of videos ago using a little template from Divi. And what I thought, we've got these colors going on, the green sort of thing there. So I thought, let's add a little hover effect to the menu up here that matches our colors. Really easy to do. It'll work on drop downs too. It will actually work. You can make it work on tablet and mobile if you want to. If I hit my F12, here it is on a tablet. But to be honest with you, there's not much point because on a tablet and mobile, they've actually got to click on these links. So the hover effect's really not going to make much difference. If I click on this link, it will turn green slightly, but of course it'll take them to where they need to go. For instance, if I go on my skills, it did actually turn green quickly then, but you're not going to see it. So it's not really worth doing it on those devices in my opinion, but it is a really nice effect to have on your desktop site. So let's get started. I'll quickly undo everything I've got here and we'll start from scratch. Okay, we're reset now exactly the way it was when we left it, when we made this site. And this is also the way it's displayed in the default header. So as soon as you load up Divi, this is what you got basically. To do this today, I'm going to go down to my dashboard. Onto the dashboard, I'm going to go down to Appearance and Customize. That'll bring us to this page here. I've actually got mine set as the front page because we were doing a one-page scrolling site. Doesn't really matter as we're working on the navigation at the top. Should be the same on all pages anyway, unless you have a custom header somewhere. So what I want to do is add some additional CSS here, and don't panic, I've done it all for you. First thing I want to do in the additional CSS panel is give this a title. A title's / */ and we'll call it menu background. Great. Now we want to edit our little menu up here. Remember, we're using the default Divi header for this, so if you've got a custom header, the classes are going to be slightly different. So I'm going to right click and inspect. I'm using Google Chrome here, but most browsers have this feature today. I'm going to turn off my tablet, display it normally. If I bring this up, I've got elements selected one side, so I've got HTML. I've got style selected the other side, so I've got CSS. If we look at this, it's highlighting the anchor tag, the A tag there. And as I'm got my mouse on it down here, you'll see it highlighting at the bottom. It's got some padding on the bottom, which is the green bit you see up here when I hover over it. And if we look over here, it's got padding on the bottom, 33 pixels. We'll have to counter that in a minute, but we know what to target. If we look here, the A tag is under an ID of top menu. And if I look down here, it's got top menu, hashtag A, which is exactly what I need to target this. If not, you can copy that, put a hashtag in front of it, put a gap, then an A. But I'm going to copy this, Control C. I'm going to drop down under the title that we put in there. I'm going to paste that in there, hashtag top menu A. Let's open and close some curly brackets. So we can see what's happening. I'll give this a background color. So let's just say background. And I know that green was 33 CEAD. As you can see, that's put a background color and it's showing us it's got that 33 padding on the bottom there. But I want to make it sort of button size. And the little line at the bottom here is the bottom of our header here. So let's put a little semicolon after our color there. I'll drop down and let's make it our own shape with some padding. So I'm going to say padding. I think I used 8 pixels before, 8px. And you may have noticed it's put 8 pixels around it, but we've still got the original 33 on the bottom. So to force this, I've got to use the important, and that's exclamation mark, important. As you can see, that's made it the shape we want, but it shrunk up our header here. I don't know if you noticed that. If I take that away, our header was down here at the top of this image. If I leave my mouse there, put that back. See, it's jumped up. It's because we've taken the 33 pixels away there that was on the bottom. Now, 33 minus the 8 that we put on there would be 25. So if we put a margin of 25 on the bottom, it should put that back where it wants to be. So let's put a little semicolon there, and we'll say margin. dash bottom. And I said 25 pixels, I believe, 25 pixels. That's pushed it back down to where it wants to be. And we've got our button styles up here. Great. Well, I don't want that background initially. I only want to see that background when we're hovering over one of these. So let's take that background away that I put in there so we could see what was going on. Great. And we've got our class here. It's targeting those buttons. So I'm going to copy all that again from the hashtag to the end of the A there, Control C. I'm going to drop down. We'll create a hover effect. I'm going to paste it back in there, Control V. Right at the end of the A with no gap, I'm going to put a colon. And the word hover, again with no gap between the colon and the word hover. We've now created a hover effect. And we know what we want to do. We want to put that background back in, which was hashtag 33 CEAD. Now when we hover over, see that background is coming in. Doesn't look quite as green. I think if I select the hover state here, and we look down here, there it is. It's got an opacity of 0.7, which is not fully visible. So if I make that an opacity of 1, it'll give us that full color. So just after that, I'm going to drop down and say opacity, colon, 1. But we've got to override the style there, so we need to use that important again. You can write it. We can just copy the one from above there, Control C, paste it after it. Now that's a nice full green. Take that hover off. Great. But the actual link color, the words, text there, I'd like that to be white in color. So all we need to do in the hover state, just drop down one more, we'll say color, hashtag FFF, or you could just write white if you wanted to. Now when we hover over, it's going to change to white. And there's a bit of a delay there, which is great. It looks like we've got our drop-down menu link colors set to green there. If I change those back to white, this will work perfectly. And there's also our little chevron at the top there for the drop-down. I'd kind of like to get rid of that. I could either move it over here, but I don't think I'm just going to get rid of it. Keep life simple there. Now, if you wanted that to be even more graceful, you could put your own transition duration in there. And you put that in the regular state. Let's get rid of the inspector here. I don't need that for a moment. We'll re-inspect in a minute to find that little caret up there. So in the regular state, make sure you put a little semicolon after your last line of code or it will not read the next one. You say transition, dash duration. Now let's make it perhaps 0.8 of a second, 0.8s. I don't know what the Divi default is. I think it might be 0.3. And again, we'll have to force that because we've got a transition duration on it anyway. Now that's fading in a lot slower. And that's entirely up to you. Great, well, let's get rid of that little chevron. And we'll change that text color as well. I'll show you how to do that. Now, right click on that link and inspect it again. And if we hit the little chevron by it, the little caret, it's got an after pseudo element right there, which is our little caret. So this is it right here. I'm going to copy all of that from the hashtag to the end of the R of after. I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to drop down from where we last were. I'm going to paste that in there. So open and close some more curly brackets. And if you want to, before I actually get rid of it, if you want to reposition it, you could copy a bit of this code, the right and the top, for instance, if you wanted it to be a little further out on the right hand side. Let's make it negative 10 pixels. Let's push it over a bit. And we want it down a bit. Let's get on that one. We'll say perhaps 5 pixels. You could even do more than that if you wanted. Or about 8 pixels. Now that works fine. If you wanted to move it, I want to get rid of it completely. To get rid of it completely, I'm going to go between our two curly brackets there. I'm going to say display, colon, and the word none. And you may have noticed it's disappeared. Fantastic. Now to make this permanent, this code, just speed that up a little bit. It's a little bit too slow for me. Make it half a second. To make this permanent, you need to hit your publish. Shut down our little inspector here. And the only other thing I wanted to do was just change that text initially here. I could do it with a bit of code, but the easiest way is just roll back while we're on this page, header and navigation. This is our primary menu, and that's the drop down there. Primary menu. There's the drop down text color. Click on it. Put it back to the default, which is that gray there. One more thing I just need to do. Make sure these are white when we hover. If we go back to our code, back again. Where I've turned it white there, you guessed it, I'm going to use that important on that as well. Control C, copy. Control V to paste. Just a little gap away there. Tidy that. We'll publish that. Now we've got our little hover. Our little carrot's gone on the contact me. Drop downs are there. When I hover, that's now turning white. So we should be good to go there. And don't forget, I'll put all this code down below for anybody who just wants to copy and paste, but you really want to write this out. It's great to learn CSS. It really will take your editing skills up by several levels. So let's go back to our regular page here. We'll refresh. That carrot should disappear. And there's our little hover effect. Fantastic. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. Don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you. We'll make a little demo video just like this one. So once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and WebDesignDetectives.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.